this was something that I think is pretty current, pretty interesting.
Yeah.
It has to do with Chat GPT, and pretty much the creator of Black Mirror, Charlie Booker, had toyed around with Chat GPT and basically asked it to generate a Black Mirror episode. And I guess when he read it, he was like, "Oh, it's," and then he gave it a second look, and he's like, "No, it's shit."
Right.
And basically, he was saying all it's done to look up all it's done is look up the synopsis of every Black Mirror episode and kind of put them together, and that there's not really any original thought.
Yeah.
And then the only good thing that he kind of came out of it was what not to do, because basically the Chat GPT had just been like, oh, and like almost every Black Mirror episode, somebody's been in a computer the whole time.
Right.
So I thought it'd be interesting to just have like a little discussion about where something like ChatGPT and an AI kind of goes into the writing process or like art currently, because that is a big discussion that, you know, people with the writer's strike are having about including AI, and they don't really want anything to do with it. And then there's other people who see it as a useful tool, and it's just that. And then there's other people who are like, I can be an artist and create all this stuff.
Right.
And I guess my opinion about it is maybe at one point, AI will get to the point where it'll be creating things that are genuinely original or creative and exciting. And maybe there'll be a few instances where like I really enjoy something, but for the most part, when I see something that is AI generated, sometimes I'll think, oh, that's funny, but there's nothing about it that impresses me.
Sure.
I'm not.
It's just like, hey, this is cool to like make for a second, and then that's it.
Exactly. Like the same way that like I don't think that I'll ever really be impressed by like an AI written script. Well, the thing is, like, if I didn't know, maybe I could. But if I know, then maybe I won't even care that much about it later on.
Right.
We'll see.
I mean, I feel like it's going to be easier with scripts for a while. Like if it's, you know, if it's AI or not.
But the idea of like of most art, and then somebody's like, oh, this is made by a computer. Like the whole thing about art and scripts and movies and anything is that it was made by a human, and then you're like, whoa, that's incredible, because that's us. Like you could do that, right? You know, it's like the human spirit that like willed this together, as opposed to like when somebody's like, oh, I made all these Wes Anderson style Harry Potter characters, and I'm like,
okay, that's neat, but like whatever. Yeah,
I don't really care. Like, I think it's useful maybe if you wanted to like use it as like a tool to like see what an idea could look like.
I think that's exactly what.
But the idea of like, and now I'm an artist, and now I've made this. I'm like, it's taking away all of the unique synchronicities and
I think in general too, though, it's like even if used at that level, you're taking a job away from concept artists, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that's the thing is like I
didn't even think of that.
Right.
Yeah,
like,
that's a whole job.
Yeah, it's a whole and I want to say like in the next 5 years, like in some form, I want to say 20% of jobs are going to be affected by AI. Which is a lot. It's a lot of jobs. So, yeah, in this instance, I think it's terrible to use it in a writing sense. I think, like everything you said. What's special about artful creations is the people behind it, and if it's just some robot or AI making it, there's not like real heart to it. And even then,
but you don't. I mean, I think even with that, like until AI is really AI, where they're able to have these different things that even makes an AI its own individual AI, like you until they have that algorithm or whatever that factors in, like, and maybe I don't know. I had a weird day, like. I'll add this.
Mhm.
And they're like, why? And you're like, I was just feeling like it. Because the AI doesn't have that
Right.
thing. And then you miss out on all the,
Mhm.
all the, I don't know, like, like even with like an actor, like they just added a thing and like it's that role is now iconic forever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, yeah, and even in the other sense, it's like how there's how they're saying they're going to use it, because you can't use it for a full script. It doesn't have that capability right now. But like how they want to, how studios want to use it, and why the Writers Guild of America, or right, is that right, is so against you like using Chat GPT is because you could give it a prompt and it could write some like very base kind of crappy script, but then you get a bunch of fresh, like not great writers, I guess, if you want to say, to pump it up and fill it out. You could do that, and you wouldn't have to pay any real writers to actually put any effort into it. So I think that's what's scary, and they could even take an unfinished script and be like, hey, fill in these parts for us, and then they would just have somebody else punch it up if they didn't like what Chat GPT wrote. But I just think it's such a bad precedent for writers, and I fully support, like I have to fully support this strike that's going on, because that is a lot of what they're fighting right now, is the use of AI in writing.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely a bad time.
I think that was very well said. Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. I agree.